Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. We often look at artificial intelligence, with this sense of wonder. We see the powerful algorithms, the amazing things it can do.
Right, the sleek apps, the smart assistants, it's all pretty dazzling on the surface.
Exactly. But what is that brilliant AI brain really made of? I mean, at its absolute core, it boils down to something simple, yet profoundly important: data.
That's it. Data.
Yeah.
And just like building anything complex, say a huge skyscraper or a bridge,
Yeah.
well, the quality, the integrity, how you manage those core building blocks, it's just non-negotiable. You simply can't build reliable AI without solid, trustworthy data. It's like the fundamental truth here.
Okay, so today we're really digging into that foundation. We're doing a deep dive into data management controls in AI.
Mm-hmm.
We're using a key section from a leading review manual, Chapter 3, Part C, as our guide.
Mm-hmm.
In this chapter, it really unpacks how we secure, govern, and responsibly handle, the vast amounts of data that fuel AI. It's not just fuel, it's the raw material, right?
It absolutely is the material AI learns from. And understanding this isn't just for the tech folks. It's crucial for anyone who wants to grasp the real-world impact, the potential, and frankly, the responsibilities that come with AI.
You framed that really well. This deep dive, it's not just about being more efficient, although that's nice.
Right, efficiency is a bonus, but the why it matters here goes much, much deeper. We're talking about the fundamental reliability of these AI systems.
Reliability, security.
Their security against all sorts of threats, and maybe most importantly, their ethical operation out in the world. See, if the data an AI is built on is flawed or incomplete or maybe handled carelessly,
Then the AI itself inherits those flaws.
exactly, it inherits those problems, and that can lead to this cascade of real-world harm. Could be small things like inaccuracies, or it could be huge privacy breaches, or even, physical risks in things like self-driving cars or medical tech.
Wow. It's like the difference between a perfectly engineered bridge and one built on shaky ground.
Precisely. The foundation matters enormously.
Okay, so the stakes are definitely clear. Our mission today is to guide you, the listener, through this pretty complex world. We'll lay out the blueprint section by section.
We'll start with the big picture, the strategy. AI data governance.
Right. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, how data is first acquired, how it's carefully organized and prepped for AI.
Mm-hmm. And then how it's actually used and accessed by the models. And super important, how it's protected through its whole life, right up until it's securely gotten rid of.
We're going to break down each essential piece so you come away with a really solid understanding of what it takes to build AI we can actually trust.
Sounds good. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's unpack this first part. When people talk about AI, the public, even lots of tech people, the focus usually goes straight to the algorithms, right? The complex code, the impressive results.
Yeah, the flashy stuff, the outputs.
Exactly. But before any of that magic happens, it all starts with data. And for that data to be trustworthy and secure and actually effective, you need an incredibly strong foundation.
You really do.
And this is exactly where AI data governance comes in, just like our source material lays out. It's not just like a nice to have, it's step one, non-negotiable.
And what's really interesting here is that data governance for AI isn't just your standard IT concept you can kind of tack on later. It's actually quite strategic.
Strategic how?
It's about making sure all the processes dealing with AI data line up perfectly with the company's overall data governance programs. You have to weave AI-specific needs right into how the organization already manages its critical info.
So it's integrating AI data needs into the existing framework.
Precisely. It ensures the data fueling your AI gets the same or often, even more strict attention than other sensitive business data.
Well,
It's about treating AI data like the strategic asset it is, with all the responsibilities that come with that.
okay.
And the manual is super clear on this. Because AI relies so heavily on data, information security risks have to be managed across the whole company. It's not just the AI team's problem.
Not siloed.
Not at all. It affects every department, every system that touches that data. You need solid ways to measure how effective your AI data management is and make sure security controls aren't just written down somewhere, but they're actively enforced, monitored, and constantly improved.
Without that enterprise view, you're basically creating weak spots.
Exactly. Vulnerabilities that can undermine the whole AI effort.
So let's talk consequences. If an organization kind of skips over robust AI data governance, what's the real-world fallout? What actually happens?
Well, the fallout can be pretty significant, yeah. It hits everything from just basic operations to public trust regulations. On a practical level, you can end up with AI systems that are just plain unreliable.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, imagine a fraud detection AI. If it's trained on incomplete or inconsistent data, maybe it starts flagging perfectly normal purchases as fraud all the time.
That'd be frustrating for customers.
Hugely frustrating and costly for the business. Or think about predictive maintenance AI. If its input data isn't updated or checked, it might completely miss signs of equipment failure. The systems designed to be smart end up making dumb or even biased decisions.
Right, so inaccuracy is one thing. What else?
Well, then there's the huge risk of privacy breaches. If you're not governing sensitive personal data properly, health records, financial details that can leak out through the AI system.
And that leads to big fines, bad press.
Massive fines, yes. Reputational damage that's hard to recover from, and just a total loss of user trust. Plus, security holes can pop up anywhere in the AI lifecycle, from getting the data to training to running the model.
How so?
Think about it. If you don't rigorously check the source and quality of your training data, you might accidentally feed it manipulated data. That could compromise your AI, make it vulnerable to attacks, or even cause it to behave in harmful ways. It's a foundational weakness that spreads.
That makes total sense. Okay, so you can't govern data you haven't properly acquired first. That seems like the logical starting point.
Yeah.
Section 3.4.1 in the manual talks about data acquisition.
Exactly. Data acquisition is the crucial starting gate for everything else AI does. And it's not just grabbing data, it's about sourcing it responsibly and securely.
So what are those initial steps?
Well, first off, proper documentation is key for any data shipment, whether you're getting a new data set from outside or just moving data between departments internally.
Documentation like what?
Things like inspection protocols, checking the data looks complete and makes sense, managing cross-country transfers, which gets legally complicated fast, and fundamentally establishing the legal basis for getting the data in the first place. Do you actually have the right to collect and use it?
That documentation isn't just red tape then.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's the groundwork for compliance, for accountability, for making sure your AI is trustworthy down the road.
And what about agreements?
Yes, formal agreements are absolutely critical. The manual really stresses data processing agreements, or DPAs. You need these with any third parties who handle your data.
What does a DPA do?
It's basically a contract. It spells out exactly how the third party can handle your data security measures, how long they keep it, what happens if there's a breach. It's vital.
And internally?
Internally, you need clear, standard operating procedures, SOPs. Detailed, step-by-step guides for handling data consistently and compliantly right from the moment you get it. Putting these agreements and procedures in place upfront saves you from huge legal, ethical, and security headaches later.
Okay, this raises a really important point. The manual in Figure 3.03 gives this really detailed list of questions, questions you have to ask when getting data for AI. It's not just a simple checklist, is it?
No, it's definitely not. It's a deep dive into due diligence. It reflects just how complex bringing data into an AI system really is. There are 12 points, I think.
Yeah, something like that. We can't go through all of them, but let's hit a few key ones to show the depth. First, where did the data come from? Who created or produced it? Why is origin so critical?
Origin is, well, it's fundamental. It helps you establish data lineage like its history and confirm you have the rights to use it. Think of it like the provenance of art.
Okay.
For AI, it helps you gauge trustworthiness right away. Is it from a reliable source? Has it been checked? It also helps you spot potential biases built in at the source.
Like if it came from a specific social media site.
Exactly. Understanding the demographics there helps you anticipate bias. And legally, it ensures you have the right to use it for AI. If you grab data from some unknown source, you risk using low-quality, manipulated, or even illegal data. That can lead to totally unpredictable and problematic results.
That's a strong point.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Who truly owns the data, especially if transferred or purchased? This sounds like it gets legally messy.
Oh, it can. Ownership is a cornerstone. It defines who has the final say, who's legally responsible for protecting it, who can grant usage rights for AI. When data changes hands, the contracts must define ownership clearly.
To avoid disputes later.
Disputes, yes, but also to comply with laws like GDPR in Europe, which are really strict about personal data, and to protect your own company's secrets. Ownership can be complex. You might own the right to use data, but not the raw data itself. Getting that clear upfront is essential.
And linked to that is the data confidential or proprietary, requiring specific controls? This seems huge for security, especially with sensitive AI training data.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Knowing if data is confidential or proprietary right at the start dictates the level of security needed. Sensitive stuff, health info, financial records, your company's secret sauce needs much stronger protection.
Like more encryption, stricter access.
Exactly. Enhanced encryption, multi-factor authentication, really tight access controls, specific legal agreements. If you don't identify it as sensitive, you might treat it like public data, which is basically asking for trouble.
And for AI, leaking training data is bad.
Very bad. It could expose the data itself or even allow someone to figure out things about your model or business strategy.
Okay, how about this one? What is the specific intended use and is consent obtained, for example, for processing personal data? This hits privacy and ethics hard. Right.
Directly, it connects straight to privacy laws and ethical AI principles. There's a key idea called purpose limitation, basically. Collect data only for clear, legitimate reasons.
So for AI, define why you need this data.
Precisely. What problem is the AI solving with it? And if it's personal data, getting explicit, informed consent is non-negotiable. Legally and ethically, people need to know how their data will be used by your AI and agree to it.
Prevents soap creep, using data for things it wasn't collected for.
Exactly that. And it builds the trust you absolutely need for people to accept AI. Without clear consent, you're violating privacy and trust.
What about data quality? The manual asks, how is data quality assured? Seems pretty fundamental for AI performance.
Oh, it's paramount. Quality is the bedrock. An AI model is only as good as its training data. This question forces you to look hard at how you validate, clean, and maybe enrich your data.
Because poor quality leads to bad outputs.
Directly. Incomplete records, errors, inconsistent formats, old info all lead to biased, unreliable, or even dangerous AI results. Imagine a medical AI using bad data for diagnosis, or a trading AI using old market data.
Disaster.
Could be. You need ongoing processes, automated checks, human review to constantly monitor and ensure accuracy and completeness. It's not a one-off task.
Okay, last one to the section. Who is responsible for safeguarding it, and what are the relevant subject keywords? This sounds like accountability and organization.
Spot on. You need a designated data custodian, a person or team officially responsible for the data's security, integrity, compliance. That makes accountability clear. No gaps.
And the keywords.
Keywords help with discoverability and cataloging. Makes it easier for AI teams to find the right data sets and ensures proper classification. Think of it like tags in a library makes a huge data lake navigable.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of critical questions just for acquisition. It really shows the amount of upfront work needed. And I bet this gets even harder with all the IoT devices and real-time data demands the manual mentions.
You bet it does. The Internet of Things means data flooding in from everywhere. Sensors, wearables, cars, often in real-time, unstructured, massive volumes.
The 3 V's of big data: volume, velocity, variety.
Exactly. Traditional methods struggle with that. It makes ensuring quality, security, compliance incredibly challenging at scale. Those due diligence questions become even more critical with dynamic data streams. You need automation and sophisticated governance just to keep up.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. You've acquired the data, done the due diligence. Now it's not just about having it, right? It's about making it usable and secure for AI. Which brings us to the next big phase. Data organization and preparation. This isn't just tidying up. It's fundamental to how well the AI works.
And if you look at the bigger picture, the success of any AI project really hangs on how well that data is organized and prepped before an algorithm even sees it.
And it's not just the AI team's job.
Definitely not. It's deeply collaborative. Needs tight coordination between the AI development team and the data governance team. Our source, section 3.4.2, really hammers this home. They have to work together
To ensure it's managed properly, secured.
and optimized for AI while still following all the company rules. It's like an architect and builder constantly checking in to make sure the foundation is perfect.
So it's an integrated, ongoing thing, not separate silos.
Exactly. The main goal is to apply the same tough standards for security, compliance, quality control, things like data flow mapping, storage mapping, access mapping across all AI data processes.
Why is that consistency so important?
It prevents gaps, vulnerabilities, ensures the whole system is strong. Otherwise, you could have brilliant algorithms that perform badly, or worse, insecurely, just because the underlying data pipeline has weak spots.
Okay, let's talk about data flow mapping. What is that exactly, and why is it crucial for AI data?
Right, data flow mapping. It's basically documenting the data's entire journey. Where it comes from, how it moves internally, if it goes externally, all the processing steps, right through to its output and destination.
Like a detailed map of the data's life.
A living blueprint, yeah. It shows how data changes, gets enriched, moves through the system.
And why is that so vital?
Several big reasons. First, it gives you this amazing understanding of security and privacy needs at every single stage. You can see exactly where sensitive data is, where it moves, where the risks are, allows you to be proactive with security.
Makes sense.
Second, it's absolutely essential for compliance. Regulations like GDPR demand you understand how data flows. Without this map, you're kind of flying blind about where your data is, who's touching it, what's happening to it.
Like navigating a city without a map. Risky.
Very risky. You could get lost, or worse, walk into danger without realizing it.
Okay, clear. Then there's metadata management. We hear that term a lot. What's it mean for AI data specifically?
Metadata. It's basically data about data, attributes that give context and meaning. For AI, this includes things like precise definitions of data elements like what does customer ID really mean across all systems?
Consistency.
Yes. Also, data lineage tracking, its origin, history, transformations, like a family tree for your data. And crucially, metadata includes quality metrics, accuracy, completeness, how up-to-date it is.
And why is that indispensable for AI?
Well, it's vital for classifying data and controlling access. Good metadata lets you tag data accurately sensitive, public, whatever, and then apply specific access rules.
So you can filter and manage huge data sets.
Exactly. It makes it much easier for AI teams to find the right data and, importantly, understand its limitations or biases. Without good metadata, your data lake becomes a data swamp, chaotic, unusable. It's the library catalog versus a random pile of books.
Okay, so the data's flowing, it's described.
Yeah.
How do we make sure it stays accurate and complete? That's data integrity monitoring.
Right. Precisely. Data integrity monitoring means putting processes and controls in place to constantly watch for manipulations, ensuring accuracy and completeness throughout the whole AI pipeline.
Not just a check at the start.
No, it's ongoing, vigilant, like a constant guardian of the data's purity.
And the risks if you don't have it.
Oh, they're profound. If data gets altered, corrupted, tampered with, or just incomplete without you noticing, it leads straight to flawed AI models, which then make bad decisions.
Like the fraud detection example again.
Yeah, or imagine an attacker subtly changing financial data to hide their actions. Good integrity monitoring spots those anomalies or unauthorized changes fast. It's an early warning system against data poisoning or corruption.
And all this work, organizing, preparing, the insights from governance and data flow mapping, it should feed back into bigger decisions about risk and security for the whole AI system. Like a feedback loop.
It absolutely should. Decisions about AI risk and security should be AI informed. Meaning, the deep knowledge you gain from understanding your data, its origins, journey, weaknesses, should directly shape your security posture.
So you're using data insights to make smarter security choices.
Exactly. Moving from being reactive to being strategically informed and preventative.
And wrapping up this section, it sounds like data privacy and security isn't just for the data team or the AI team, it's everyone's job.
That's a critical takeaway. Can't stress it enough. Data privacy and security, especially with AI's huge sensitive data sets, involves everyone. From the top executives setting policy down to every employee interacting with data.
It requires a cultural shift.
Big time. Everyone needs to understand their role in protecting data and contribute to a secure AI ecosystem. It's a collective commitment.
Okay, so we've got our data, it's organized, prepped. Now for the exciting part, actually using it. And maybe even more critical, controlling who gets to see and use it, especially with powerful AI models involved. This is data utilization and access.
Right, and this gets to the heart of AI's power and its risks. AI gets its strength from processing massive amounts of data incredibly fast. But that very capability creates new security and ethical challenges around utilization and access.
How so? The source material says AI processing actually changes data or generates new data.
Exactly. That's a key point. Whether it's an LLM or another model, AI isn't just reading data. It's often transforming it or creating brand new information based on it.
And that transformation creates new risks.
It can, yes. Risks unique to AI. For example, models can sometimes hallucinate, produce outputs that sound right but are totally made up. That's an integrity risk.
Okay.
More critically, security-wise, a model might inadvertently memorize and then leak sensitive training data in its responses, even if that data wasn't meant to be public.
Wow. So you need to watch the outputs too.
You need vigilance over the inputs and the outputs and how the AI interacts with and potentially changes other data in your systems.
This sounds like it connects directly to data minimization, that principle of only collecting what you absolutely need.
It does, very strongly. Data minimization means collect and keep only the bare minimum data required for the AI's specific job. Scrutinize what actually helps the model and get rid of the rest. Resist hoarding data just in case.
And that extends to access.
Absolutely. Limit access only to people or AI models with a clear, legitimate need. The principle of least privilege applied to data. If someone or something doesn't need access to sensitive fields, deny it.
And process it securely.
Always. Secure environments like isolated sandboxes for training or production systems with strong controls like network segmentation. The less data you have and the fewer things can touch it, the smaller your attack surface.
So AI generates data too. What about that data? The stuff the AI creates.
Good question. Organizations need clear policies for the quality, ownership, and access control of AI-generated data.
Like model outputs or synthetic data.
Exactly. Model outputs, synthetic data for more training, even the model's learned parameters. Without governance, this new data could inherit biases, be inaccurate, or even expose sensitive info. You have to manage how information flows through the AI to maintain control. It's a continuous cycle.
Okay, once data is being used, where does it live? Securing storage must be a huge deal, given the sheer volume AI uses.
Monumental concern, yes. The manual stresses maintaining consistent, strong storage security across the whole company. Doesn't matter if it's on-prem, in the cloud, in a data lake, same high security standards everywhere.
The encryption?
Definitely. Encryption at rest when stored and in transit when moving. Plus strong access controls and regular checks for weaknesses in your storage setup.
The manual also mentions data immutability briefly.
Right. Data immutability means once data is written, it can't be changed without authorization. It prevents tampering. For AI, that's great for protecting training data from poisoning attacks where someone tries to corrupt it to mess up the model. Also gives you a solid audit trail.
Okay, let's focus on data access itself. Section 3.4.5. AI pulls data from everywhere, internal, external. Sounds like a potential security mess.
It definitely adds complexity. AI needs data from databases, third parties, IoT sensors, public data sets, the web. This diversity helps the AI, but it also creates more potential entry points for attackers.
So more sources mean more risk.
Potentially, yes. Each source needs careful vetting and security.
A common fix is centralizing data, right? Like a data lake.
Yeah, centralizing in a repository like a data lake or warehouse is efficient. Models get data from one place, but that central place becomes a huge, juicy target for attackers.
A single point of failure.
A high-value single point of failure. If it's breached, the impact is massive. So it needs extra security way beyond what you might need for decentralized data. Granular access, constant monitoring, advanced threat detection.
It's a trade-off then. Efficiency versus concentrated risk.
It is, and you have to mitigate that risk aggressively. Plus, you have to critically look at what the AI model itself can access, both training data and production data.
Not just human access, but model access.
Right. An AI with too much access could leak sensitive info, extract proprietary data, or even be manipulated to steal data. Least privilege applies to the models, too.
Are there tools to help with this?
Yeah, AI-driven data exploration tools are getting better. They help data scientists understand data sets without giving them raw, unrestricted access, maybe using anonymized or tokenized data for initial analysis. Keeps things secure while allowing exploration.
And finally, network access policies are still key.
Foundational. Absolutely critical for data containment, preventing data leaking out. You need secure network segments, limited data movement between them, especially crucial for keeping sensitive AI training data locked down.
Okay, we've covered data's beginning and its active life with AI acquisition, organization, use. What about the end? And how do we keep it safe throughout that entire journey?
It's interesting, isn't it? The end of the data lifecycle retention and destruction is just as critical, maybe even more so, than the start. Getting this wrong leads to big risks. Compliance failures, breaches, ethical issues from keeping data too long.
While ongoing security controls are the guardians throughout.
Exactly. They're the constant protectors at every stage. It's a continuous commitment.
Let's dive into data retention and destruction then. Section 3.4.4 sounds simple, but I guess it's tricky with AI data.
It is tricky. Organizations need clear retention schedules and policies. Keep data only as long as absolutely necessary for its purpose and legal requirements. Holding on to AI data longer than needed is just asking for trouble. Adds risk, cost, compliance headaches.
And destruction has unique angles for AI,
Definitely. First, forensics. Even after its main use, you might need some data for a while for incident response or analysis if something goes wrong.
like a system failure or a breach.
Right. Second, legal and regulatory compliance. Laws like GDPR or HAPE dictate how long you must keep certain data and how you must destroy it. Get that wrong, and you face huge penalties.
And third,
Understanding the impact on your AI systems. How will destroying this data set affect the model's performance? Or future retraining. If you toss crucial training data, you might cripple your ability to update the model later without starting over. It's a balancing act.
so deciding when and how to destroy data isn't just an IT task. It involves data governance.
Always needs coordination with the governance framework, aligned with policies, legal needs, AI strategy. The manual even suggests mapping retention schedules onto your data flow diagrams for clarity. See exactly when data should be retired at each step.
And confidentiality during destruction is key.
Non-negotiable. Use secure methods like cryptographic shredding or physical destruction, not just hitting delete. Enforce the protocol strictly and monitor continuously to ensure compliance. Leave no trace.
Okay, so from acquisition to destruction, data needs constant safeguarding. Which brings us to section 3.5, data security controls. These are the shields for everything else, right?
They're the continuous guardians, yes. Given the sheer volume, speed, and variety of AI data, strong security controls are absolutely critical. Existential, really.
Because AI models are data dependent and vulnerable.
Exactly. Vulnerable to data manipulation, unauthorized copying, unintended exposure. These attacks can wreck an AI's performance, trustworthiness, fairness, ethics.
What are some key techniques the manual mentions?
Common ones include tokenization, replacing sensitive data with non-sensitive stand-ins, encryption, making data unreadable without a key, both when stored and moving, and anonymization, removing identifiers to protect privacy while still allowing analysis. These are layered defenses built into the AI architecture.
Let's focus on data confidentiality secrecy, section 3.5.3. How does that apply specifically to AI?
Confidentiality has to be a core design principle, woven in everywhere. It means actively stopping unauthorized disclosure of sensitive training data or any data the AI processes.
Because exposing training data is so risky.
Hugely risky. Could reveal business secrets, personal details. Data minimization helps here. Less sensitive data means less to protect, smaller impact if breached.
And you need other controls too.
Absolutely. Strong encryption for any clear text data, tight access controls limiting who or what AI model can touch the data, ensuring access is strictly necessary, maybe even training on encrypted data, only decrypting inside secure, isolated environments, layers of digital defense.
Now, I noticed the source material also briefly flags data encoding, data decryption, data backup, and data immutability as critical security components, even if we didn't dive deep. Why are these specifically important for AI data?
Great point. Even brief mentions highlight their necessity. They each play a vital role.
Okay, take data encoding 3.5.1. What's the AI angle?
Encoding is about converting data format. For AI, it's not just efficiency. Proper encoding reduces corruption risk, aids secure transmission. And crucially, encoding sensitive data before it hits the model, like tokenizing or encrypting it, means the raw info stays hidden, protecting confidentiality.
Makes sense. And data decryption 3.5.2.
That's making encrypted data usable again. For AI, the key is controlling when and where decryption happens. Ideally, keep data encrypted as long as possible at rest, in transit, maybe even during processing in secure zones. Only decrypt in highly controlled, audited environments to minimize exposure.
Right. What about data backup 3.5.4? Seems basic, but for AI.
Its importance is massively amplified for AI. Imagine losing the massive, curated, labeled data set your model trained on. That's not just data loss. It's potentially millions in business interruption, loss of the AI's memory, a huge development setback. Robust, tested backups are critical for continuity and recovery for your most valuable AI assets, the models and their data.
And finally, data immutability 3.5.5 again.
Yeah, worth stressing. Once written, data can't be altered, that digital seal. Vital for trusting your AI training data. Prevents subtle corruption or tampering that could skew your model. Provides that reliable audit trail, essential for compliance and building trustworthy AI.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. From the big picture of data governance right down to the fine print of security controls like immutability.
We really have. And bringing it all together, what we've seen is that these effective data management controls governance, acquisition, organization, utilization, security, retention, destruction. They aren't just suggestions or best
That was
practices.
a bedrock.
Exactly. The absolute bedrock for building AI that's trustworthy, secure, and genuinely reliable. They're the framework, the safety nets that let AI operate safely and ethically in the real world.
And for you, the listener, getting a handle on these controls gives you that deep, practical insight into the real challenges, the real responsibilities of AI.
Mhm.
It's about moving past the hype, focusing on the fundamentals that make AI sustainable, beneficial, and ultimately something we can actually trust. It sort of lifts the lid on the black box a bit.
Absolutely. This deeper knowledge is what separates just knowing about AI from really understanding it.
Mhm.
It helps you ask better questions, spot potential weaknesses, and push for more responsible AI development.
So, wrapping up, what does this all mean looking ahead? AI is getting woven into everything: healthcare, finance, transport, critical stuff.
It really is.
How do we make sure our data management practices actually keep pace with how fast AI is developing and with all the new rules coming out? Are we building systems that can adapt to risks we haven't even seen yet? Or are we always going to be playing catch up?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Are we laying strong enough foundations now to handle what's coming? It's definitely something important to ponder as AI keeps accelerating.
A very important thought indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another exploration into the topics shaping our world.